Well, this is coming from The Guardian. Head of Microsoft's Israel branch to step down after inquiry into dealings with Israeli military. The inquiry came after The Guardian revealed Israel used company technology to support mass surveillance of Palestinian phone calls. So yeah, there you go. Proof that Microsoft cares about human rights. If you're an employee for Microsoft and you use their systems in order to support genocide and ethnic cleansing, Microsoft wants you to know you've gotta go. I mean, don't worry. All of your investment, all of your equity will vest, and they'll make sure you get a nice little severance pay and all of that kind of thing. But Microsoft wants you to know how seriously they take ethnic cleansing. So this is kind of an interesting story. I was talking about this before, like a year ago. There's a Unit 8200 in the IDF. Basically, they contracted with Microsoft Azure to store essentially all communications that the Palestinians were having over electronic devices. So basically hoovering up all cell phone calls, text, any of that kind of stuff, and dumping it into Azure systems. And basically this all came out about a year ago. And, you know, people were like, oh my golly, this is, I don't know, horrible? Is that what we're supposed to say? Oh my golly, I can't believe that an American technology company is supporting genocide. No. It is so unimaginable. So anyways, this all came out. There were lots of protests against Microsoft. Microsoft said they would look into it. And now apparently the head of the branch that was involved in all this is stepping down. So, you know, that's how seriously they take this. I do find this to be kind of interesting. I've talked about this in the technology world, where certain companies really get hammered with their support of ethnic cleansing going on in Gaza. And then other companies, nobody seems to care about, with this whole Azure thing, right? So Unit 8200 of the IDF was apparently using Azure to store all of this information. Microsoft stepped in last year and said, no! You can't use our systems to support ethnic cleansing in that way. That way is wrong. Anyways, so they shut that down. The curious part, though, is I do believe Israel came out. I do believe the IDF came out and basically said they're just going to migrate all their systems to AWS. Not lying. You can go look for it. Basically, they said, yeah, we're just going to move everything to AWS. And the weird thing is, the curious thing is, there doesn't seem to have been any protests or screaming or arguments from the Amazon employees, right? So Microsoft employees, when Microsoft supports the cleansing going on in Gaza, Microsoft employees, they go out, they protest, they do sit-ins, all kinds of stuff happens. And weirdly enough, when AWS supports the ethnic cleansing going on in Gaza, you know, the AWS employees just look at, you know, their vesting schedule and wonder when they can actually exercise their stock rights or whatever else. It is kind of weird how all of that works. But yeah, so this is what's going on right now. I guess this is how Microsoft is trying to cleanse their hands from all the blood that's on it. I don't know. Really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, you know, you look at this kind of thing, you look at big tech, and like with Anthropic, right? You have Anthropic AI come out, and they're like, we don't want the Pentagon to use our systems for mass surveillance of Americans or for autonomous weapon systems. And they seem like that's a moral stance. And yeah, but the military, the Department of War, right? The Department of War can literally use Anthropic systems for everything in the world other than that, right? Dario doesn't seem to have a problem if our Department of War kills hundreds of children in Iran because of information provided by artificial intelligence, right? If AI provides information that leads to the slaughter of hundreds, thousands of Muslim children, you know, that's That's within the terms of service. But by God, there has to be a human being in that particular kill chain. And that's where all of this stuff with American tech just gets really, really, really weird. Again, with the Department of War, Anthropic comes out with these 2 rules. That's just a bridge too far as Trump is concerned, right? Nobody tells Trump no, quite seriously. OpenAI gets involved, Microsoft gets involved. Everybody is getting involved with the Department of War, right? The war in Iran that's going on right now, that's killed civilians. Our president has literally threatened to commit war crimes, literally threatened to destroy an entire civilization. And yet the folks in Silicon Valley, the folks in big tech, are still lining up with their buckets in order to get the blood money. But then there's like these weird things where they try to be moralistic and ethical. Well, how you can tell that we're a good company is, look, we fired the guy that supported the slaughter of tens of thousands of civilians. He is going to have to retire on a bed of cash and think long and hard about the evil that he has put into the world. Yeah, Is he gonna have to wipe the tears out of his eye with his piles of cash? Anyways, I don't know. The head of Microsoft's Israeli subsidiary will step down in the wake of an inquiry that has scrutinized its business dealings with the Israeli military. Microsoft ordered the inquiry last year in response to a Guardian investigation, revealing the military had used the company's technology to operate a powerful surveillance system that collected Palestinian civilian phone calls on a mass scale. The joint investigation with the Israeli-Palestinian publication, Plus 972 magazine, and the Hebrew language outlet Local Call found the military's elite spy agency, Unit 8200, had used Microsoft's Azure cloud platform to store a vast trove of intercepted calls from Gaza and the West Bank. The inquiry commissioned by Microsoft is understood to have recently concluded. Its findings are unclear, however. Sources familiar with the situation said they prompted an announcement last week that Microsoft Israel's general manager, Elon Himovich, will leave the company. The Israeli business newspaper Globes reported on Monday that their departure followed a major controversy at the subsidiary relating to violations of Microsoft's code of ethics. It reported that several other managers had also left their positions. Within weeks of launching the inquiry, Microsoft concluded that its initial findings showed the Unit 8200 had violated its terms of service, which prohibit the use of its technology to facilitate mass surveillance. As a result, the company terminated the unit's access to cloud services and AI products used to support the surveillance project. And again, that is where I do believe the IDF went over to AWS. They're like, I wonder what AWS's TOS is. Equipped with Azure's near limitless storage capacity and computing power, Unit 8200 built an indiscriminate system allowing its intelligence officers to collect, playback, and analyze the content of millions of Palestinian cellular phone calls every day. Details of the surveillance program's reliance on Azure sparked concerns among senior executives at Microsoft that some of its Israel-based employees may not have been fully transparent with headquarters about how Unit 8200 used the company's technology. This is also an interesting thing to be thinking about, right? I always talk about this whole counterintelligence thing. I don't know why I talk about counterintelligence and everybody laughs at me. I do think this is kind of an interesting thing to be thinking about. Again, especially if you have Israeli employees, right? Israeli patriots are patriotic towards Israel. It's just one of those funny things, right? Like Russian patriots are going to be patriotic towards Russia. American patriots are, I don't know, they're going to be patriotic towards Italy or something because that's how the modern world is. But anyways, one of the things to be thinking about when you hire people from these different nationalities is that if they're patriotic, they're going to be patriotic towards their nationality. The other thing I've talked about before, especially folks that have been in the military, all that kind of thing, one of the things that sucks is a lot of people are in the military, they're in the military for a long time, they felt like their job mattered. My job is important. They come out into the civilian world, they get paid a shocking amount of money in the civilian world to basically play solitaire all the time, right? This happens a lot, right, with ex-military folks. And so one of the things I've discussed many times before is, hey, what if a CIA agent or a Defense Intelligence, DIA, agency, DIA agent, whatever, comes up to an ex-soldier and says, hey, how's that job going for you? And they say, oh, it's so boring. I get paid so much money, but it's so boring. And they say, how would you like to support your country again? And you can buy a lake house too. You get to be a patriot and you get a lake house. How does that sound? That sounds pretty good. And as I've talked about before, hey, what if you slip this code into the systems? What if you do this particular thing? What if you forget to do a backup for a night? Whatever. May not be major stuff. You just leave a port open in the firewall for 30 minutes, right? That type of thing. And I've talked about that a lot before. And so kind of one of the interesting things with this is think about this, right? You have Israeli employees for Microsoft selling to the Israeli government. Look, this isn't about morals or ethics. This is just about humans here. Is it really a shock that the Israeli employees might not be fully transparent with what their government is using the Azure systems for? And as I've discussed before, this is why things like counterintelligence might actually be a useful thing. But anywho, let's see here. Documents seen by The Guardian suggest the guy played a role in developing the relationship between Microsoft Israel and Unit 8200 following a 2021 meeting between Microsoft's chief executive Nadella and the unit's then commander. This included overseeing a partnership with the spy agency to build a segregated area within Azure to store sensitive intelligence material. Once complete, Unit 8200 began to move the expansive archive of everyday Palestinian communications onto Microsoft's cloud infrastructure. Hamovich did not respond to a request for comment. In an email to staff announcing his departure last week, he said he had positioned Israel as, quote, one of Microsoft's fastest growing markets worldwide. Hey, look, there is a lot of money in cleansing a population. Think about all of the technical resources that's required for genocide, right? You got to collect all of the information. You then got to parse and find what's valuable in the information. And look, NVIDIA is just down the road, right? You got Microsoft with their Azure systems. You got NVIDIA with their AI systems. Then you actually have to deploy solutions in order to exterminate a people. There's a lot of stuff that goes in there. So yeah, I mean, oh, it's adorable what these folks say with a straight face. That's what I love. Like whenever I read stuff about Israel, they're like Trump. They just say it. You're like, don't say that. You're not supposed to say that. But they do. They do. Because they believe they're right. That is the most magnificent thing about supremacists. You know what I love about supremacists? Supremacists don't think they are right. They know they are right. And since they know they are right, they'll just tell you exactly what they're doing. And you're like, God damn it. Anyways, so yeah. As Microsoft's fastest growing markets worldwide. That's kind of funny. A piss-ass country of like 10 million fucking people with an economy that's going in the shitter because they've been in the war for the past 4 years. And yet somehow they're one of the fastest growing markets for Microsoft. Explain to me why that is. Microsoft has previously said its senior executives such as Nadella were unaware Unit 8200 was using Azure to store intercepted Palestinian communications. The thing that I do wonder about this though, right, is like, look at this. Overseeing the partnership with a spy agency to build a segregated area within Azure to store sensitive intelligence material. The other thing too with Nadella with this, either Nadella is lying or there's some curious things going on in Microsoft. So here's the thing, right? If you've got Azure and you're using the normal Azure infrastructure and you put naughty stuff on the normal Azure infrastructure, right? It is a bit of a blob. It is a bit of a blob. How is Microsoft supposed to theoretically police, or should they even police, the information that goes in? Here's the deal. When you start designing your architecture at scale to be able to pull this much information in, again, specifically segregating systems just for Unit 8200, doesn't it seem like you should have more visibility for what is going in there? It's like, look, you need a tremendous amount of storage. You need to segregate this from the rest of the systems, which obviously would make sense. What exactly is being stored here? Don't you think that would be a reasonable discussion point, a reasonable thing to be put in the contract on what is allowed and what is not? And so it is kind of funny here when Nadella's like, oh, it's not me. It wasn't me, right? You're like, that's questionable. Either A, you're lying, or B, it's true, which actually is more concerning when you really think about it. So anyways, this is what we're seeing, right? The Israeli employees are getting a smack on the hand, right? The patriots for the Israeli empire get a smack on the hand. And, it probably seems, reasonable that they'll probably get decent jobs somewhere else. Doesn't sound like their equity is being ripped away. Doesn't sound like they're really being punished. They just did what they did, and now they're being shown the door, which is, how things go. That is punishment. That is punishment in the modern world of big tech. So I'll be curious to see how this kind of stuff goes with the rest of big tech going forward, especially with the war going on in Iran, so many other things. Like, how does this flesh out? And also, how much pushback there is from a lot of these tech companies. One of the things I discussed for years, right? You go back 2-3 years ago, you see all these Microsoft employees protesting, you saw all these Google employees protesting, right? It was amazing. 6-figure employees protesting the companies on the company time, which was a hell of a thing. One of the things you'll notice, though, is now that these companies are firing people tens of thousands at a time, right? 30,000 from Oracle, 16,000 from Microsoft. Just did a video, 5% from LinkedIn, 4,400 from Block, 1,100 from Cloudflare. Like literally every day, these big tech companies are dumping people by the thousands. One of the things I think will be interesting to see going in the future is how much pushback there is going to be on these types of, customers and this type of load for these particular systems. Is that still going to be there? Are employees still going to protest? Or is that all going to kind of disappear? I don't know. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Microsoft firing the manager for the department that sold the services for Azure to the 8200 IDF unit? What do you think about, they seem to be getting like a little bit just of a smack on the hand. What do you think about this, though? Also, again, like with this whole counterintelligence thing that I keep bringing up, right? People are patriots for their country. Unless you're American, then you're a patriot for everybody else. Anyways, right? Like I said, if you hire Israelis, they're going to be patriots for Israel. If Israelis feel that Israel is in the middle of an existential war, because they are, spoiler, they are, doesn't it only make sense they will bring to bear whatever resources or capabilities they can get their hands on? And doesn't it also make sense that may be counter to what the main corporation, what's good for the main corporation? And one of the things to really question is how does the company deal with that? Does the company have any real visibility into this kind of world about how employees could be manipulating systems in ways they don't necessarily expect? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, you can get them on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Link is down on the doobly-doo. Also, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.